Hi everybody, Cynthia here. I moved the camera a little bit closer because I'm going to do a tutorial for you guys on these flowers that I had shown you in previous videos. This is that Christmas one I wasn't sure about. And I just did a fall one yesterday. And then I also tried them with paper. Now with paper, you can get a completely different look. So these are the ones in fabric, and then these are the ones I've done in paper. So you can see just by manipulating the petals a little bit, you can get a little bit of a different look. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did both. This is a big one. This is using 3 by 3 inch squares. And then it gave me a flower that's approximately a little over 3 inches around. Okay, what I'm using now, if you wanted to get this size, is 2 by 2 inch squares. Now my paper one's pretty much done, but I have 2 that I have not done yet, so I'll show you how to do those. And we're going to start with the fabric. So what you're going to need are 12 2 by 2 inch squares to make your petals. And let me get a circle. I use a 1 inch circle punch for my base. Let me grab one of those. Okay. Alright, let's get started. Let's see if I can do this right. Okay. So basically what I do is I put a little glue dot on one of the corners, and then I flip this corner up to meet it so it looks like a little pyramid. Then I put a little glue on this corner and I fold it up to meet the top. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing with this corner. Fold it up to meet the top, but just lay it side by side. Sorry, I was out of camera. You don't want to overlap them. Okay, and then little glue dot on this corner, and you're going to want to fold it and meet up with the center line there. And you're going to do the same thing with this corner. You're going to fold it and meet the center line so that you'll end up with a piece that looks like this. Hoping that I'm in camera. Let me back off a little bit. Okay. Let's try this again. Put a little tiny bit of glue. I use hot glue. You can use whatever you prefer. On the one corner, fold the other corner up to meet it so it looks like a triangle. Put a little glue on the right side, the right corner, and fold it up to meet the top. Then you're going to put a little bit of glue on this corner, and you're going to fold it up to meet the top as well. Don't overlap them, okay? You want them to lay side by side. So let me do that. A little bit of glue, and fold it side by side. So you should have another almost square piece, okay? Then you're going to put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and you're going to fold them in to meet that center line. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice today. Okay, fold that in. Little tiny bit of glue here. And fold that in. And that forms your petal. Okay? You're going to do this to 12 of the squares, and then once you have all 12 done, you can go in and start laying out your flower. This is my circle punch right here. So you basically want to flip it to the back side where there's no folds, and that's where you want to put your glue, and then kind of line it up with the center piece and lay it down. Okay, and then you're going to put your second petal right across from it. Now when you're gluing these, you want the nicer, see the nicer edge up here, to stick out. You want to glue the back of this part here where you gathered up all your material. Okay, so glue on the back. And I basically just start layering all the petals. Okay, so I have my 4 on the bottom. Now I'm going to go to my next layer. And I'm going to layer my petals. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. Let me get this one here. Careful you don't burn your fingers with the hot glue. So this is like your second layer we're doing here. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go in your layer your other 4 petals. Instead of layering it on top, you want to pull it in a little bit closer to the center so that the bottom petal here you can see. Okay? So a little bit of glue, and I'm going to layer that in there, but I want to make sure that you can see the bottom petal. And then I'll go directly across from that one and layer it in so you can see this bottom petal. They're so simple to make. It's just a matter of folding, you know, all the material for the petals. And you can add as many layers as you want. I just used 12 petals for this one. Okay, so now your flower is pretty much completed, except you want to use some, for this one, because I made it for a fall color, I used orange eyelash trim. You could layer with burlap, you can layer it with tulle, you know, lace, whatever you want to do. I just started using this stuff. So basically, let me pull some of this eyelash trim out. Okay, so you have your top layer of 4, you have your second layer of 4 petals, and then you have your original 4 you started with. Okay, so I pretty much just pull them all back except for my first layer. I'm going to add a little bit of glue inside here, and I'm going to lay the eyelash trim in there. I'm going to wrap it around underneath, you know, all these on top of the 4, the first 4, but underneath the second layer. And when I meet up with where I started, I drop the next layer of petals and I move up to that second layer. Okay, and I wrap it around until I get to where I started, and then I drop those. And I'll usually layer underneath these two. So basically you're just wrapping it around and layering it. Let me cut this piece off here. Add a little bit of glue and wind that around. Okay, so it's all underneath, and then all you're going to notice is the little sprigs of the eyelash trim. Okay, and I think I have chose a button, so let me cut the shank off here. Let me throw that out. Add a little bit of hot glue. Got some on my finger and that really hurt, but I didn't scream. Okay, and there you are. Okay, so that's the fabric one. Now, like I said, you can get a little bit of a different look to it by just lifting these petals up with the paper. So I'll show you how I did that. You want to do the same thing, 2 by 2 inch squares, and get 12 petals. So I still have 2 pieces left to do, and I'm going to do them for you guys. So a little bit of glue up top, meet the other corner. Okay, so you have like a pyramid, and then a little bit of glue on that corner, meet it at the top, a little bit of glue on this corner, and meet that at the top as well. Okay, now you want to get your two sides done. I like to fold them first when I'm working with paper. It's just a little bit easier that way. So I fold them in, and then I add my glue. Like I said, if you're going to use hot glue, just be really careful. Okay, now there's my petal. So the only difference of what I do now is I get my tweezers, not the piece that you glued to where you met it up top, but the piece up here. I kind of poke my finger in up top, and I use my tweezers and I lift it and just kind of push it open. So it looks like this from the top, and it looks like that from the sides. And now I'm using, with this color here, I decided to color it up and distress it a little with the Victorian Velvet, so that at this point I'll just go in and do the edges a little bit. Okay, and you can just play around and manipulate the paper a little bit, just so that that petal sticks up a little bit. I got glue in there. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Glue in the corner, bring the other corner up to meet it. So you have a pyramid. So glue the right corner and bring it up to the top. And then a little bit of glue on your left corner. Bring it up to the top. Now you want to glue your two sides in. So I'm going to fold them in first. Okay. A little bit of glue. Meet it in the middle. A little bit of glue. Meet it in the middle. Now I'm going to put my finger up on the top and grab my tweezers and just pull out the paper and push it open a little. So your petal should look like this from the top and like this from the side. It just kind of raises the edge of the petal a little bit. Okay. Add a little bit of the ink. Okay, now we're ready to glue them together. Okay, the back where there's no lines is where you want to add your glue. Kind of meet it in the center there. In the back, go directly across from that petal. I'm going to burn myself with this glue gun, I know it. And meet it in the center. And then across from those, you're going to put your next petal, and then across from that one, you'll put your following petal. That's the first layer. Okay? I'll just glue that down to the mat so it doesn't move. My next layer, I use like a graph paper. I just wanted it to look a little different. So I'm going to place my petal there. And then across from that, you're just basically layering up your petals. And then one here. And one here. Okay, so that's your second layer. And I just have my third layer, and remember, I'm going to layer my petals in between these two, but I want to bring it in a little bit so that bottom petal back here shows. Okay, bring that in. And I'm pretty much going to layer that right on top of the next one there, so that you can still see the bottom. Okay, so now we have the flower put together. I'm going to use some of this pink eyelash trim and start on the bottom layer. A little bit of hot glue. Place my trim in there. Okay, I'm going to wrap it around the bottom. When I get to where I started, I'm going to move up a layer and wrap it around there. when I get to where I went up, I'll move up again and just wrap it around here. And I'm going to want to glue that under the first petal, that top petal. So let me trim this a little without cutting my paper. There we go. Add a little bit of hot glue and put the last piece of floss in. Okay? Kind of looks like that. And then just pull out your floss, get it to where you want it. Okay? And then I chose a Tim Holtz button to put in the center. It's pink, and then I used some pink tulle to finish it off on the inside. To finish it off. And that's it, guys. That is the paper one. Okay? So you can kind of get two different looks with the same pattern. I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I will try to answer them for you. And I will be back with a tutorial on the box that I came up with, the dimensions. I'll be back to show you the dimensions of that and how to put it together. So thanks for watching, guys.